Hey people, I'm going to show you all this ancient magician's trick of how to create men out of the earth with just the word. And it's not hard, anybody can master it in 2 minutes. The hard part is first you got to create the earth. And then just remove that last letter. And you've created the first man. So I got a good question here from Fucker. He says, why the hatred for the F word? And what the butt effing does it really mean? And while I was looking deeper into that, I found another word that they changed the meaning and they don't want us to say anymore. When I was a kid, we played Smear the Queer. And I just Googled Smear the Queer, and I thought I would see a picture of a bunch of boys fighting over one ball. Smear the Queer. We had a ball and throwed it up, and somebody caught it and ran like hell, and everybody else tried to smear them, push them down and take the ball, whatever it took to get the ball and get out. It was like rugby, except we didn't have goalposts. And I thought I would see a bunch of pictures of this come up when I Googled this. And sometime we played Smear the Queer with teams, and that's the same thing as rugby, no goalposts, and you could, before you got smeared, you could pass it on. And so a lot of y'all think that queer is the one that was holding the ball, but actually Smear is the one that was holding it, and queer is what he got. And I know I just blowed your mind. I know this is a look on your face, but that's a fact. I went to my program to see where's the first time fuck would come up in the Bible. And it's here in Genesis 2 when he put Adam in the garden. He fucked him and took Yahweh God, the man, and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. Will smear. If you don't get rid of that damn ball, you're going to get smeared. And Will Smear is the one who kept the ball. This means queer. The smear is over here in this who fuck. And in this short story between line 15, 16, and 17, it's just a short paragraph. Put him in a garden, told him to eat all the trees except this and you'll surely die. And between the Hebrew and the Greek, it has all 3 words of the day in there. But in whatever day you should eat the faggot, from it to death you shall die. You will be the smeared queer. So this word fuck, it was just spelt with the QH. And it's where your word fork come from. Back in the day, in that transition between Stone Age and civilized, we used a utensil to pick up our food, It was just a knife, and you fucked it. I had a French grandmother from Quebec, and she had a hard time with that word, made the waiters laugh. And I'm guessing that word was obscene in France. They didn't use fork and fuck because it meant the same thing, to stab something with a knife or with your 7. 7 had the same meaning. It was a dick or a knife. And it was here, this letter Q, and Phoenician Q. It means stab through the center. You only got one tongue when you're fucker. It's a fucker, not a fork. The block style Hebrew turned into a down dick, but it's still a fucker. And then the chet, the center to divide is what it means. And if I go up in your store and take a chocolate bar and leave and not pay you for it, you just got fucked. You was took. You see, that's the base word. Most of the time they say, and they took them wives. And this is where your word wife come from, W-I-F-E. But the base of this coming from the QH, and all this take word will work all around there. And I believe it pronounces as take only when the T comes in front of it. It looks like this, just a TQH, and shall take the 7 sevens. And I knew that had something to do with it. And what it means here is a septum. A septum is the middle. And anytime you see this mark here, it means the next letter is the septum, is the middle of that word, because that word reads backwards, M-D-A-E, and then A-D-M. And this is a septum. 7 is the septum of 13. And so when you use this tack, it automatically makes this word, an odd number of letters, because they're all reading twice except this one at the septum is once. So I pulled this off and put it beside the Latin and Greek and color coded. And it's real easy to see from an instant that it's talking about a whore earth. And it's your wife, and your wife is who fuck. And who fuck you all that's Dixie. Hey you all, she's gonna do everybody. Who fuck you all, him at Haddam. And he was the owner of a wife who would do everybody. He was a pimp, pimping out the earth. And that reads other ways with the tack and with the A here. But you can see in the Latin here, it's a to let her go. To let her go them in used tos. To let her go them in used tos. And so when some girls are gossiping about that girl who fucked the whole team, why fuck you all them, they replace that with and took oh Lord God, which she did. I can't speak it. Oh Lord God, Yahweh, Lord God. The girl who's taking a big dick, that's what she says. Oh Lord God. But it's talking about the earth, and to let her go. Ergo, they always say ergo means work, ergonomics. And here they're going to interpret it as and took. And to let her goad them in, the ones that went in her, goad them in, used, USD, used whose, people using the earth for free. No charge. Anybody can plow the earth and plant it. It looks like an ad in a paper, a job title, or, stay at my place and work the soil. To let, a place to stay, and her got, D or T, her got, the thing you were talking about, the place to stay, her got 'em in used whose, home 'em and pursuit whom in. Parodies of voluptuous, that's where your word voluptuous comes from, curvy. That's why it'll say Eden over here. They say the Garden of Eden or Odin means voluptuous. And so it's just in the Latin they use both words. And the spelling on pursuit, I'm sure it means several things, proper English trying to say pursuit but not wanting to pronounce that R. The R was just for heathens and pirates. And I'm sure it's trying to say a home in Mu. MU is the flood day, the moop, the moopa suit, your swim trunks, whom in paradise voluptuous. And what of a rariture? Doesn't come along often. That freak could do 'em all. And custed her William. The ET is a VAW, replaces the VAW, same as the K here. And so this is a WIL, and the second L reads a IUM. Yum is the day, and Illy is many day, Ilium, and William is the helmet. Will protect, William, will helmet. And custodian, to look over, to watch over, and custode her, a William, to protect. Look over and protect. Operate, look over, and protect. And in the Hebrew over here, this is a vine, V-I-N-E, same word as wine, W-I-N, W-I-N-H, W-I-N-E is all the same word. The wine who begin, in the garden, the engine to turn, the wine who turn at in A-T-N, the wine who turn it in. And so this is loved who will smear. But I've been looking at this letter B. A lot of places it looks like it should read as a R. And so I've been placing it with an R to see what it looked like, and it fits real well. And it, when it says Obed, I replaced the B with a R. And it's, the Obed is to serve, and who you serve is to serve is Lord, L-O-R-D. The Lord who will smear. And that's the vine, the vine, the grapevine, the gossip who begin. And put him in the garden, and the gossip who begin, Odin, Lord who will smear. Why, fuck you all, him it had 'em. He had the newspaper. Fuck you all, him it had 'em. A vine who begin at in, Lord who will smear. And so I'm sure this is talking about Bacchus, the vine. And in the Greek, you can still see it's talking about the earth. It's Sodom, S-O-D. The sod has. The Lord sod has. It's talking about the Nile River. I told you at the beginning of this chapter, it's talking about autumn, fall, and it's time everything dries up, and everybody else in the world, they have to till all that under, turn all the old crop under to feed the soil for next year. But in Egypt, they would just let the Nile flood. The god of the Nile would bring down all new sod. The carry of sod has. The Lord God, the Nile, carry of sod has. And so the L, I tell you, it reads as the N before the A. This is the time, when of the carry of sod has. And that was when the Nile had flooded on the Mu Day, Venus and Virgo. The sod host on and drop on. It carries and drops it off. And drop on of the place. N before the E reads a V. Of a place. And wed it to ought of in. The N before the E reads a V. Oughten and ought of is the same word, depending on the next word, whether you should or you shouldn't. Ought to or ought not. And wed it to ought of in, and put him in, and wed him to, married it to ought of in, to a parody so. A parody is, a parrot is to repeat it, to parody, to repeat it, but differently, a parody so. And urge is a stay. Urge is a stay, trying to get somebody to stay and operate and take care of this earth. To urge is a stay. Often the G reads as an N. To earn, to offer them some money, that might make them want to stay and work. And so earn as the stay, is staying for free. Earn your keep. To a new Philistine, to a new file assign. You see that's like the pedophile. That's the way it'd be spelled. The love, an ass hine. A new file assign. You might have seen some old B-rated movies where they took a women's prison, they would use them for prostitution. Or you might be released to the judge's custody, where you would be the new file assigned. And after reading this 10 times, then I can see what it says. It's when of the curiosity host on and drop on of the place. Curiosity is the spirit that's floating by and drop on the place. Whether to odd of into a parade they sow. Earn as the stay of to new Philistine. And so it says the same thing. It says sod over here. It says a lot of the same things. It just changes places of words. And when you read these A words backwards, the whore ends up over here with the man. It's when of a carry a sod, the host. Host and O-N and double N is any. Any offered, O-F-O-R-D. And any offered in, take any of them. Hey, wife you all. Of a place and wed it on a toit. And this, the T-U-A, the U-A reads as a T-E here. And what it means is Edda. It's the feminine. The A-U is the egg that you see in Egyptian women's name. And the T is a loaf of bread. The A is the of. But in the other direction, it reads as a T-T-E, Edda. And wed it on Edda. The feminine. And then the A is the E-S. Is into parade is of. And urge is a stain. No longer a stay, but a stain. And so urges, that's another movie, but that's when Cain killed Abel. He had that urge. What people don't get out of that story is what happened to the flock of sheep. What did he have the urge for? Abel only had two things. He had the love of God, that's content in your heart, and a flock of sheep. You can't take his content by killing him. All you can do is take the flock. and urges a stain at two, the TEW, the shape, the two fool a sign. And then this sod is over here in the Hebrew too. And it's in this word, the man, when you read it with the marks. Why, fuck you all at, and MDAE. The AE reads the ES, and the maid, and then SADM, Sodom, and made Sodom, up the ass, the sod, the plow the earth, and made Sodom. A wine who begging, BG, the N, the second one reads the I, that makes this a ing, the wine who begging, and he was fuck everybody who was begging for wine, and why fuck you all, him it made Sodom, wine who begging, and dotin, DODN or DOTN, like an antidote, dote meaning to give, and begging, giving, and begging, doting, and the wine who begging, doting. Why fuck you all at made Sodom, the wine who begging, doting, to begging, to give. Lord who will smear. So imagine this letter Q is where we get no from, as in no fucking in the street. And surely the same Q is in quiet, as in, keep that quiet, forbidden. When the ancient poet was talking like he was a battle warrior and running you through with his sword, he was thinking about his woman. So I'm going to cut this off here, and I'm going to backtrack and see where I can find it again. But somewhere here in Genesis 2, it plainly says in the Greek and in the Latin that this isn't the same book, but it had to be changed for the times. But I want to look into this first. It looks like the real origin of the word medicine, and to kill the priest you give him some medicine, moot to death. When you come to your death, they say, don't say moot, but they said he met his end, medicine. It seems like that MU is pronounced as an E, a medicine. Get your just medicine, the death of the priest. I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.